Good Lord, this whole exercise thing is just murder, and I've got carrying around so much extra weight these days. But yeah, Saturday morning I managed to drag my sorry butt out of bed and actually do a little bit of exercise, which is nice. This is the worst angle, isn't it? Mm. Let's see if I can pull us forward a bit here. What's going on? Hello. There we go. That's a little better. So yeah, back on the wee, wee, wee. Um, it's more fun when I don't actually have to do it with the whole rowing part. Yeah, exercise sucks. I hate it. I just freaking hate it. But I just feel like I got to this point where I just have to do it. So that's what I'm doing. And I got my little McKay Stargate t-shirt on today, which if anyone wants to grab, please feel free. Go to, why don't you go to techbandits.org, and then there's a link there. You can find all the stuff there. But good Lord, I've got to sit up too. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, another burn and learn. This is my sort of feeble attempt to get fit and to be around to, watch my son turn into an even more fabulous young man, and to get to hang out with my brilliant, beautiful wife Jane, and lament about my dog more. So remember, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Okay. Good morning, Lock Watcher. Lock Watcher. I like the sound of that. Ashton Hater. Ashton Hater, you're online all the time. It's remarkable. Good morning and good morning and good morning. And Darth Piran as well. Good morning to you. Yeah, definitely morning for me. Watched the Blue Jays last night. I'm not really a sports person, but I did watch that game, or most of it, anyways. I got tired by the end. We ordered this massive pizza. We got donuts. We got we got wings. We had beer. It was I sort of woke up this morning. I was like, this burn and learn is going to be interesting, and it was. So but it's done. It's done. It's good. It's good. It's all good. It's all good. And I get this is my little reward now. I get to talk to you. And I think a little later I'm going to try to join the Tech Talk folks. I'm going to try to talk to Barnacles and Ox again and hop back on there and talk about some stuff. Burn and learn the learn side of this burn and learn today. I should tell you, what did I do? I did 21 minutes. I did 21 minutes. And it was horrible. I just thought I wanted to do one extra minute because I did 20 yesterday, I guess, so 21 today. Um, I'm not going to build every time, but I just thought I should get an extra minute in there. And so yeah, hoping to do some of that podcasting with my little nerdy buddies later on today, and and yeah, I completely forgot what I was talking about. Anyways, how are we all doing out there? My coffee looks just like yours this morning. This is actually a cup of tea, and I'm feeling a little less grumpy now that I've got the tea in me and the exercise done. Hmm. Gradual increase in. I was Kid Vermin. Let's go sports ball. Yes, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. Trying vaguely to understand. My wife, as always, being the bloody brilliant woman that she is, has already figured out all the stats and all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, oh, they hit it. That's really where I'm. That's about where I'm at. Oh, it's Mr. Bookmug. It is. Oh, Mr. Man. I love the Mr. Man. It just, I don't know what. I guess I grew up. I guess it reminds. It's a retro thing. And look at me. I put a knee brace on. I've been having these weird issues with my knee being an old man knee and all, and so I've started putting on these. I thought I'd try this out today, and you know what? It's quite comfy. Although I will say this, I creak when I walk now. I make these weird little creaky noises with this thing on my knee, which I'll admit I quite enjoy because it adds an audible level to the grumpy old guy that I feel like I really am. So welcome to getting older. Exactly, Lockwatch. Yeah. Okay, so the learn part of my burn and learn. So this is a burn and learn, I should say. So my whole idea here is I hate exercise so much. I like to be learning something while I'm doing it. Today again a bit of a cheat. Yesterday as well. I've been listening to the This Week in Tech, the TWIT network with the fabulous Leo Laporte, and this Intelligent Machines podcast, which I love and hate. I love it and I hate it. It's oh god, it's a treasure trove of information, which I love. I don't like when they get into the back and forth about whether AI is good or bad and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know we have to talk about these things, but it feels, I don't know, I don't know. It just seems like just a personal choice on these things. But the one today, which I thought was interesting, was this news AI. So basically, I'm not exact. I may have got the name wrong. We'll have to double check on that. Just check whatever the latest Intelligent Machines podcast was, or maybe it might be the second last, the previous one, because I'm probably behind a bit. And it's this guy is trying to do is basically, it was a Discord chat that they had going about AI. They turned it into a company that makes AI, again, supposedly without, without bias. I mean, bias is the wrong word. Without agenda, shall we say? So, but unlike Grok, which basically just sort of went like, oh, minus woke or whatever. This one is the idea is that we put a lot of guardrails in on our AI. When AI is presented to us, it's presented to us with with numerous guardrails to stop us from doing horrible things. And a lot of these companies will actually hire people to try to come up with ways of what they call jailbreaking these AIs, trying to get them to do something that they're not supposed to do, like show images of terrorism or something. I mean, so this guy was saying like, look, it's pointless. There's no way we're going to be able. Someone is always going to be able to game the system and come up with something that they shouldn't. So let's just present them with the technology and leave the humans with the responsibility to decide what they feel is right or wrong and what they want to do with this thing. So really open to abuse, obviously, but at the same time, so is all these other ones. So the idea that this is a totally open source model, they are pushing for sort of a more ethical approach to it, which I'm interested in. This is not an ad, by the way. I don't have this. I don't even, as I say, I'm not even sure I've got the right name for it. But the only thing that worried me, which is just me, is the guy who runs it is a lifelong Catholic. And we know that's not always a problem. I just worry sometimes when God and religion gets into the mix on some of these things. That said, one of my favorite, most trusted sources is the digital Jesuit, Robert Ballasar is Ballasar. Got the name wrong, but anyways, Padre, as I call him, who's a Jesuit, and I very much trust his opinion on things and his take on the world and stuff. So I don't want to sort of say that everyone who is a Christian is out of the discussion. But it just when it comes up in a discussion about the technology, I just get worried because I sort of go like, well, obviously there's going to be biases in there, then, aren't there? Or there's not. I mean, anyways, the hope is that, true to his word, I hope this system may be one that's being stripped down to allow you to do whatever you want with it without worrying about trying to get around. I feel like a lot of these AIs now, you find yourself trying to sort of get around the the guardrails that they have for the prompts and things. Just not because I want to do terrible things, but just because I think they're so terrified. It's a bit like trying to work in the educational system, where everyone is so worried that they might get sued or in trouble that the easiest and fastest response to everything is just no. So I think a lot of these AI models are doing exactly that. Let me get my glasses on and I can see what people are saying here. It's perfectly safe if used responsibly, like alcohol. Yeah, yeah. That's really not okay in my opinion. What? Where's that? It's really not okay in my opinion. Not for any of the AI companies. What's that? That's not right. AI is like alcohol. It's perfectly safe if used responsibly. I mean, the reality though is, I mean, the thing I get into with the alcohol and the AI is the marketing, right? If you're being marketed that AI that having this wonderful drink is going to make your life better and you're going to be better with women and have a much more successful life. Oh my God, my glasses are fogging up. That's how out of shape I am. I recently came across an article in which Phil Tippett's VFX studios turned to AI to assist them with their work. All local LLMs and entirely trained exclusively on their own work. That's really interesting. Martin Drake. That's fascinating. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I think you know AI. I think we've talked about this before, but basically, I feel like it's like when desktop publishing happened. All of a sudden, everyone was freaked out because they said, "Oh my God, everyone's going to be able to write a book." And it's like, so what? Not everyone's going to write a book, and not everyone's doesn't mean you have to read them. And I'm sure there was a lot of crap slop, human slop that showed up in the in writing, and there's continues to. I think AI will unfortunately make that a lot easier, and thus there's going to be a lot more of it, and we're going to have to come up with ways of sort of wading through that to get to the good stuff, the stuff that we want to see. You know, what I like about this is, and what I worry about with a lot of the other models is, you know, once they start flipping advertising in this, we get into this YouTube situation where, you know, a number of these YouTubers are basically hawking goods and wares and services and stuff to people who don't even know they're being advertised to. You know what I mean? It's funny. Yesterday, I did my podcast. My podcast. I did my this whatever this burn and learn thing, and I realized that the way I said it, I thought I set this kind of cool look with the rowing machine in front of it, and I realized it looked like I'm trying to sell rowing machines because it, you know, it had like the logo, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to like that's not what I'm doing. I just trying to look for just a cool shot. Um, you know, and I guess there's just, uh, yeah. I mean, I say this to my son all the time. It's like, you know, what's the message? What are they selling? You know, I mean, if you if you want to know how much truth and how much bias and stuff is involved, is just look at what they're selling at the end of the day. I mean, you know, yeah, you know what I'm doing? Well, there you go, perfect example. So I'm worried about selling. I'm worried about selling, looking like I'm hawking for some big company, but I'm happy to wear my own T-shirts and hawk them to you. So, you know, I guess it just it's interesting. I mean, it's a fascinating situation to be in. The AI stuff, I think, is bringing to the surface a lot of issues we have with the internet, anyways. I mean, to be honest, I was finding Google unusable before AI. You know, the ads had sort of taken over in the same way that when I watch these football teams or sports teams, and the logos for the companies that are sponsoring them are much larger and more pronounced and numerous than the actual name of the team. I think we're at this. Oh God, I feel like I almost hear my friend in my head here saying like it's late stage capitalism. You know, I don't know, but all right, what do we got? So I'm gonna have to check out that Phil Tippett article because I think that's interesting. The thing about VFX and AI, and VFX and AI are an interesting mix, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. But the idea that, you know, when VFX was first available and became um, sort of not as cost prohibitive as they were when they first started, everyone wanted to use them, and I think a lot of people saw them as a way of making things for cheap. And as a result, a lot of the stuff that was made with that in mind doesn't hold up over time. When you look at a lot of this stuff, there's an awful lot. A number of times I've been on, you know, bad sci-fi movies or whatever, and they've just gone like, oh fine, well the VFX will just do it later, and you look at it and it's terrible. I mean, it's just, you know, it doesn't, it's of course, because it wasn't, it's thrown in at the end as a kind of a Hail Mary, which would save, it's going to save everything at the end of the day, and it doesn't work that way. But when it's artfully included, when it's done in an intelligent and pre-planned way, or solves a problem that can't be solved any other way, then it's spectacular. I mean, you know, and the in camera effects and stuff that I still think some of those hold up better than some of the digital stuff that I've seen more recently. Um, but things like rotoscoping. I mean, rotoscope is a perfect example that I don't see a lot of people talking about. Um, that was painstakingly horrible work. I mean, I've done some. I've gone through and done this where you have to go in and you've got a mat that you put over what you want to track, and you have to, every frame it moves, and if when it you have to, if they move out of the frame that you've created, out of the track you've created, you have to move the track, and this goes on and on and on for like a series and series of images that get put together into the actual clip. And I mean, on things like Xena, Princess Warrior, and all that kind of stuff, they used to actually put some of that stuff out to the fans and say, look, we've got this, we got a rope sticking out of the back of one of our stunt people, and so if we could just roto out those. And fans were excited enough about being involved in the project, they'd get given a few frames of this stuff, and they would take out the wire, and they'd sort of like crowd source their rotoscoping. Now that is done with a click of a button, and it's got so good now that you basically, and you can see it in Photoshop and any of these, but it's probably on your phone, you know, at this point. In fact, I'm sure it is, where you just click on your foreground image and everything else disappears, or you know, and it can even track the movement of you in this stuff as well. So that is all done with artificial intelligence. That has figured that out, and it's made the process, basically it's not even a process now. It's I don't think, you click a button. I know that there were some people who will say, well, but it's not perfect and it needs to be fixed. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying it's like just click a button, it's all done. But for a lot of stuff, it is. Um, and so there's a lot of jobs gone just with that. I mean, reality is there's a lot of jobs, or there's a lot of people who got into the industry doing that. That's what they did. They went through and they moved little mats around and that kind of stuff. That's gone because the software is now taking care of it. So, um, and that's AI. No one talked about that. And then now they talk about AI when they think it looks like AI. But again, I would say apply the same thing to the VFX, where when the VFX looked like VFX, everyone was like, ugh, VFX. But when they didn't know it was VFX, that's when it's brilliant. I mean, so many of these big directors are out there talking about how they did everything in camera, and it's absolute, it's bullshit. It's not. There's all sorts of stuff which I guess they don't consider as VFX. Extending sets, fixing up little issues, or coffee cups, or whatever there is that are in scenes that shouldn't be there, or even changing performances. I mean, look, I remember way back when I first started. I remember doing a TV movie with Robin Givens. Yes, who used to be married to Mike Tyson. That was a whole story, lots of stories there. But I remember doing this TV movie, this wonderful director who directed Roots. And there was a scene at the end of this show where I was, debating, I guess, whether to kill her, or throw myself off a building, or whatever. I don't know what the deal was. And I remember there being a shot. I remember to the day, this is how it was ingrained it was for me. There was a shot that they used from another scene, and I was absolutely outraged. I was like, "Are you?" But that was that's from another scene. That wasn't the look that I did then. I wasn't even standing there. I was mortified. I was like, "Oh my God, like what is that? They just cut that in and that's not my performance." Yes, it is. That's my performance, because the nature of film is is that it's not just the acting or the directing or the filming, or the audio or the writing. It's a process, and it's a machine, and these things all have to be done. And I mean, I feel like if AI is going to make things cheaper and faster to produce, then there's going to be good and bad that comes with that. I am worried that we're going to see a world of slop, a world of just nonsensical silliness that just gets thrown out there. And but that said, it will also be entertaining, because I know for myself, I'll go to Midjourney sometimes, flick onto the video, what's new or whatever, and just have a look at what people are making, and it's incredibly entertaining, and I think inspiring in some ways. Gives me lots of ideas. But that's fantastic. But there's also going to be lots of nonsense as well. Yeah, it was just fascinating. Here I am, just like, huffing and puffing away on this rowing machine, and having them, you listening to Leo and the people he gets access to talking about this stuff is just fascinating. So, anyways, just, I mean, things to think about. I don't, I definitely have always been a tech optimist and assume things are going to be fabulous, and I can't wait for the more advanced, the latest, and the greatest, the next, and this. I am beginning to sort of, in my old age, go like, how does this work? That said, I don't think we put the genie back in the bottle. I don't know how we do that. Um, and I do think there's a lot of misrepresentation by a lot of these companies and stuff. That's why I was quite fascinated by this. I think it's called Noose, Nouse, or something. If someone could look it up, let me know. I don't have, because I've got just the phone here. But yeah, and the idea is that you can, I, I, I think you can run it on their servers, or you can run it locally. The model was trained off a couple of new systems that basically, I imagine they must have used some of the existing stuff that was out there. But the idea is that they're trying not to use stuff that they shouldn't, or that doesn't have the rights for it. So I can tell you what happens. I can tell you what happens. Just like 50% of Americans are obese or out of shape, we will mentally decline. We're headed towards idiocracy. Headed towards? Ah, I'd say we're already there. Idiocracy is the most terrifyingly prescient look at the future from back in the whatever it was, the 90s or whatever. It's just kind of shocking. I mean, I do worry, if we dumb down. I mean, are we just getting stupider and stupider and stupider as we, we read less, we learn less, our education becomes, trivial. When we've got access to the entire collective knowledge of the human race and all we watch is people getting hit in the nuts. I mean, like, I do worry about that a lot. Um, I don't, I don't know though. I don't know what you do though. I mean, the reality about evolution is everyone assumes that evolution is getting better, is that each generation of each new mutation is a better adaptation, and it is to what's happening. What if, but what if the better adaptation is that we just become sheeple? We just become people who don't think for themselves because we can reproduce and take over the planet without worrying about without fighting ourselves and our own progress and stuff. I mean, the reality is evolution doesn't necessarily make a better organism. It just makes an organism that works better in the environment that it's in. So potentially, I do spend some time awake at night worrying about these things as well. So, and I guess that's part of my sort of reaching out with the lifelong learning stuff, is just trying to get people curious again. Like think about this stuff, look at this stuff, read it. I mean, Elizabeth with a Z sent me this book that was the complete opposite of everything I felt about AI, and it was fantastic because it's a whole other perspective on stuff. You don't want to live in that little bubble. Um, Anyways, again, and I highly recommend this, This Week in Tech podcasts. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I really like security now, although I feel like I need to focus on that one. So I tend to sort of have that on when I can actually focus on it, with Gibson and Laporte on that. And intelligent machines, fantastic until they start arguing about whether AI should exist or not, and whether it's useful or not. And This Week in Tech in general is just a great overview of what's going on in the world of tech and tech adjacent stuff. So I would definitely check it out. I ride the Northwest 5853. Hello from the UK. Big fan. Oh, well, welcome. Thank you very much. Why anyone wants to watch me sweaty and gross discussing the podcast I just listened to is amazing to me, but I appreciate it very much. And this is my little reward for the exercise that I've done. This and a big cup of tea, which I'm going to have a sip of right now. Mm. Oh, I saw mental atrophy. Let's see what's so Lift the 9950 says mental atrophy, less brittle thinking. You don't have to go look at an atlas. Steps are removed from problem solving. Mental atrophy, no common sense or critical thinking. Yeah, I mean it is pretty on brand for me. Thank you, Brian Best. Hello from Moldova. Wow, hello. Um, yeah, I mean, look, there's that classic quote from Plato that said that the generation was being destroyed by the fact that writing was taking over and people weren't going and listening to people anymore. I mean, I do think that we doom and gloom a lot of this stuff often. Hello, darling. Was I away for too long? Look who's come to join me. This is the huzzah that I end with every day when I say cheerio and huzzah. This is the beast that runs around thinking that she is in fact a cat and breaking things, and is a God. She's just a demander of attention, but she's quite lovely in some ways. So now what are you going to do now? Because now you're sort of backed yourself into a corner, haven't you? Now what do you do? Hmm. Now you're gonna have to back up, and you know what happens when you back up? Beep 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 beep. I make the backup sound. Sorry. Please talk amongst yourselves. Sorry. Okay, so what else we got? Any questions, Jordan? What we got? Yeah, of course. There you go. We're talking about the atrophy, mental atrophy, lack of critical thinking, and our brains going to slop. And here I am going like, "Yeah, puppy, you was a little puppy." Yeah. You're my sanity break from designing ads for my new. Oh, what are we designing ads for? For my new business. Design work isn't as easy as people think. Yeah, too many goats. Design is fabulous though. What sort of stuff are you doing? Too many goats. What are you working on? What's the business? This is your own business that you're doing ads for, or and are you using AI to help out with those ads? I've just been starting to post these I'm a Genius podcasts on Spotify because Agne points out that not everyone just uses YouTube like me. So I was like, Spotify, that's for music. So I've started posting the I'm a Genius podcasts on Spotify. So do listen and do, yeah, if you can go and leave a comment or give it a like or something because I think that helps with all the algorithms or whatever. But and I've been using Perplexity to help me with the descriptions. I'll take a transcript and put it in and have it write a description, and then I'll go in and just make it my own. You know what I mean? Because there's some stuff that AI says that I just sounds too stodgy for me or too silly. I mean, I'm pretty silly in my descriptions, and the whole idea, the whole point of this is I'm the idiot. I'm the Stargate genius, not the real genius. So I'm the huddled masses that would be listening to this stuff. What are you trying to do? I don't understand. There's nowhere for you to go. No, oh, look at that. Now what do you do? Oh, now I'm going this way. Now, yeah, what to do? What to do? Um, let's see what's going on here. There we go. All right, puppy. Well, the idea is that with the A, B, C, D questions is you have to select an answer. We used to fill in the blank. Soon we will learn how to ask the AI for the answer. Well, so that's interesting. So my son is at university, and he is using one of his classes. I think I can't remember which class it is now. I shouldn't speak out and get it wrong. But one of his classes is they just say like, yeah, of course you're using AI. Let's give us the prompts you use and walk us through the process of how you got to where you are. But you're welcome to use the technology because everyone will be using that anyways, right? So it's sort of I mean, it's kind of in a way, it's a sports business program, but he's also it's neat. He's doing psychology, which he's finding really interesting because I mean, why not? How our brains work is just freaking fascinating. He was talking about the memory palace and the way memories were rebuilt as opposed to rewound, if that makes sense, or replayed, which is why they're sort of inaccurate and wildly biased to whatever is happening in our own heads. All right, I have a coonhound named Vala, sneaky thief. Ha ha. Brave New World covers this pretty well. Just take on your assigned role and no thinking required or allowed. Oh yeah, that's the Soma, isn't it? I loved Brave New World. I should read that again. I started reading 1984 again, which is just kind of, yeah. I mean, it was miserable the first time. It's even more miserable now. It just feels a little closer to home, you know. Started a local tech support business, and yes, I'm using AI for inspiration, but not the final project. I feel like everyone is terrified of saying that AI created something. I'm not. I look when I did my I'm with Genius, not my when I did my email of awesome awesomeness, which I need to do again because there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. When I started doing that, it I'd have to find images from around the internet, and some of them were copyright issues, and it was just a bloody nightmare. So I would have just done a text version. But because of I started playing with little ideas I had and things, and I would just start putting those in the newsletter. And no one's at a job there because I just wouldn't have put images in. And I think it does help, and it is a form of creativity for me. It's not, I'm not asking for money for them or anything. I'm just experimenting with the technology and as my son calls it, boomer art. He thinks we're obsessed with it because he could care less about it. But it does save a lot of time. That's it. It saves a lot of time, and also I think it depends on how it's used, right? I mean, seeing Sora create Martin Luther King videos as ads I, I don't know why, it just feels incredibly wrong to me and incredibly just thoughtless and yeah, that seems incredibly wrong to me. But at the same time, we've over, I've seen a million different things of people making fun of historical figures or using them for whatever. So I guess that's just part of our future. I mean, I also don't want to get into a world where someone is telling me what we're allowed to and not allowed to say and do, right? So I mean, we're already there too. So I just think it's a difficult line to walk, I've got to say. Pics are not bad. Yeah, the videos make me cringe. I love that. It's boomer art. I mean, that's it, because we see it as amazing. They're like, no, it's just bad art. Um, But I don't think it is just bad art. I think there is some really good stuff there, and some of the writing is I've got to say I'm amazed at how it'll rework something that I'm trying to get my head around, and it's marvelous for that. I mean, I don't think I'd use it for I don't think I'd use it for script writing other than to help me organize stuff, and maybe with some research. But yeah, I mean, it's oh boy, my tummy is rumbling away. That's because I haven't had breakfast. What am I doing here talking to you when I could be eating? All right, I better get out of here. Yo, Papa's me. We'll see you all later. Go watch Barnacles. Go watch Barnacles. We're gonna do a tech talk, and I'll pop on. I won't be on for the whole thing. I've got some stuff I got to run around and do, but I will. I'll pop in and say hello, and so go give those lads some love in the meantime, and yeah, please do go check out techbandits.org, and I'm with Genius, or I'm with Stargate Genius on Spotify, because that would be really nice if we can get that going. Agnes working so hard to get this stuff done, and I really want it to be a success. She's also got a really good idea for sort of a tie-in podcast that would bring in more of the sort of the actors and celebrity stuff, which I don't usually like, but it's kind of fun. It sort of makes more sense for me. So what have we got? So I use it for research. I have a pilot for a sitcom I wrote, and I used AI to have it write a synopsis of a whole season based on the one script. It was incredible what it did based on the prompts. Well, okay, so that's a perfect example. So I had a script. I have this eco horror script that my wife and I are working on, and I had a whole script written, but it was for Northern Ontario, and the Northern Ontario funding didn't seem as good as the as the funding that Jane has now looking into in Australia, a place that we always wanted to go and work in Australia. So I rewrote it for Australia. This is what I did. I had AI write a summary, a detailed summary of each scene in the existing Northern Ontario um, script. I then went through it because now I had that. It did have some issues, and I double checked, and there was some things it missed and things it added, which was weird. And anyways, so I went through, did a little editing of that. But now I had a nice little synopsis of everything the way it was. I then went through and started on my own. I would research stuff, obviously, on the ChatGPT and Perplexity. I use Perplexity more than anything else right now. And then I just rewrote the synopsis that way. So again, it saved me a huge amount of time because I would have gone through and just started rewriting from the beginning. This way, I had a whole structure. I had the structure which I really liked, and Jane really liked. She sort of signed off on a lot of it. So we wanted to keep that, and again, just saves like a ton of time. But I will go back to this again. But if we had money, we don't right now for this, but if we did have money for it, that would have been something we would have hired a young writer or assistant for to do. Say, hey, take this script, write up a thing of it. Doesn't exist anymore. So that is an entry level job that doesn't exist, which worries me. Now, as I say, in a lot of cases, there was no entry level job there because there was no money anyways. So, um, God, I wonder how that's going to change. I mean, it really is. It does worry me a bit because there's going to be just, all of those crap jobs that we used to do as kids. Like I remember working at a real estate company when I was a kid in high school, and my job was to file and stuff. But again, well, there's a perfect example. My job was to go and take all these files and put them downstairs and organize them and move stuff around and all that kind of jazz. Oh God, I loved that. It was great. And everyone would come down for cigarettes because I smoked back then, so, and they thought I was the cool kid because I was like 16 or whatever. And so he used to come down. We used to smoke cigarettes and talk about the world, and which is weird because it was an entire basement full of paper too, which is kind of a major fire hazard. But anyways, so of course, all of that paper is now, it doesn't exist. I mean, it'll all be on the computer now, right? So I guess it's just the way the world changes. I suppose we just have to figure out other ways of getting younger voices and sort of perspectives in on stuff. I mean, potentially what we could do is go back to the intern thing, where, I mean, look, I'm sure interns don't like the idea of an unpaid intern, but we used to, any opportunity we would get to be involved in a film or whatever, we'd just work for free. And that was the in. And even if that job now is going in and doing the AI stuff for you, you prove yourself invaluable. You prove yourself valuable to the company, and you got yourself a job. So maybe there's a way to return to that some way. I mean, yeah, it's God, it's I know it's a problem. It's a problem. I don't know how to figure it out because that is of all of the issues that comes with AI, that is my I think that is my biggest one where are these entry level jobs? What are these youngsters going to do when they come up? So AI is changing at a scale never seen before, and will be bad before good, and may never get good again unless we can put the brakes on long enough to put controls on it and manage it. Yeah, easy Sparky. It just depends on how you. I mean, I don't know how to put the brakes on it. I don't know. I mean, short of just a government stepping in, which I feel I just worry about overreach, especially with with governments we have now. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think. Well, let me throw this at you. I think AI should be government funded. I think we should be looking into this stuff ourselves because I worry that a few corporations that have already established themselves and monopolized various different parts of the internet um, are just going to do the same thing with this. So why? So I feel like this is a public. This could almost be like a public utility. I mean, it's taken us a long time for the internet to become like a required resource in people's lives. Perhaps this is something that AI can be as well. Um, I, I mean, again, maybe look. I could be completely wrong, but my sense is it's not going away. I do think it's going to fade, in that I feel like you know, right now it's a shiny thing. It's a shiny new thing that people are going to play with and overuse and try for everything. There's going to be a shakedown. There'll be the bubble will burst and companies will go under and all the rest of it. But there still will be some technological advancements that will come from this. And a new approach to stuff. I do think it's revolutionary. I do think it's going to change the world. I think it's already changing the world. The question is, where do we fit in all of this? I mean, the reality is, uh, you can write a prompt now and basically have a scene from Stargate. I don't get paid for that. The people who wrote Stargate don't get paid for that. Bryan Cranston was complaining about one of these companies using his likeness in stuff as well. I don't know what you do about that. Like, I mean, but I don't think saying you can't use it is the solution because I think then you just get into. I mean, look at piracy, the piracy of films and stuff. I mean, it's like, oh, don't pirate films, but guess what? Maybe if you charge the proper price for films, they wouldn't and release them in a timely manner instead of sitting on them to try to maximize the profit and gouging people at theaters. Maybe if every Apple Music did this with by okay, great, so every song is $1. Great, perfect, $1. $1 seems fair to me. Perfect, whatever. Um, you know, uh, yeah, I mean, sorry, if you are happy with that, I remember the time thinking $1, holy cow. But the idea, like basically, if you can get the cost down to a reasonable amount for these things, then people will pay it as opposed to pirating it. But it's like the Spotify's have become the pirates. You know what I mean? Where you get like a 0.0000001 of a cent every time someone listens to something. The bad potential will come first because that's where the money is coming from. And that's what the big money wants, a super loyal guard, non-human, a computer that will always do as programmed. Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. You've become such a solid communicator. It's really cool what you've done with your presence since going off air. Aw, Chase Skylark. That's thank you very much, Skylark. Um, I don't know about us. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I love the science. People say, what do you love about science fiction? And I say, science. I love the science. And I love what science fiction has allowed me to do and the people that it's allowed me to talk to and the access it's given me to people like this even. I mean, I wish I could have done this while we were doing Stargate. I'd started doing, my favorite line and stuff back in the days. If you look way back in the videos, there's some that I shot during Stargate. I just wish I could have done some more of the science stuff back then. But again, that's also looking back. I had no time. I was learning lines the entire time. We were shooting every day. I mean, but yeah, I've definitely found that I've found a renewed interest and sort of passion for this stuff by. Is that a dog? Oh, you're on the damn bed again. All I saw was this little butt up here, and I'm like, is that a mirror? How does that work? Yeah, that's the dog walking around on the damn bed. Not my bed, my son's bed. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, I've been really enjoying this, and I feel incredibly fortunate that this is something that I can do, and I think it's probably fortuitous that it's happening now too, because as I say, someone can write a prompt and replace me. So I do think there's going to be a backlash, and that people will crave, like I said, crave the atoms, crave the, I want to play a guitar. I want to find an antique, and instead of a new thing. I want to revive a pair of jeans rather than just buy a new pair. I think people are going to want to see plays with humans in it. I think they want to see movies that were made by humans with humans. And then there's also some of us, like myself, who are also going to want to watch. I want to see the spectacle. I want to see what AI can do. I'm looking forward to seeing what entertaining things can come up. And I also love the idea that people can be more the democratizing of this stuff. I mean, imagine the kind of stuff that could come up when everyone's got the ability to access to all of these tools. I mean, there's some really cool stuff that could be happening. Filmmakers who would never have been able to do this before. And and the hope is always that it's going to be more of a democratizing of this stuff, as opposed to more of a monopolizing, which seems to be my concern and why I'm interested in this new open source thing. Did anyone find it, by the way? Did anyone see what it was called? I think it's called NOUSE or NOUS or something like that. Sorry, I'm sorry. I quite like the fact that it's what is it? God, what is it? I am a Cylon sympathizer. Yes, I think I am too. Literally just saw you in C, being busy losing everything in floods. Oh no! I'm so glad to finally see C. What dreams may come? Oh well, look, I'm glad you enjoyed it. C was, oh god, it was so much fun, and I love Jason for making that happen, because we weren't talking before that, and he got me that job. Even though we weren't getting along at the time, and yeah, just he buried the hatchet on that. It's lovely. Anyways, I better get out of here. I gotta get out of here. What scares me most is the fake news videos. Yeah, political news videos. I mean, yeah, yeah. That really does worry me. The fake news, but we didn't even need AI for that, right? And we didn't even need AI for that. I mean, and the irresponsible idiots, the way they're using it. I mean, I'm sorry, but Trump's AI videos and stuff are just disgusting. I mean, they just talk about looking into the heart of a that has no heart. It's just disgusting. Yes, they can absolutely be misused that way, and that is a whole thing. That's a whole other can of worms I don't even know how to address. What do you do? I mean, the other issue of that is that it's also deniability now, right? Everyone's just going to go like, oh yeah, no, this video of me doing that, no, it wasn't me. That's AI. So please enjoy your day. I shall. All right. I'm out of here. I got to get myself some breakfast so I start making sense. Please do check out techbandits.org. That'd be amazing. And if you want to go grab a T-shirt or two, that'd be amazing as well. So there's some fun ones there if you want to check it out. This is just the what is it? Keep calm and McKay will fix it or break it. And McKay will panic. That's it. And these are just some. I couldn't find any McKay T-shirts. I couldn't find any McKay centric T-shirts for Stargate. So I just started making my own fan shirts. So enjoy that if you will. And again, go check out Barnacles. We'll be back. I'll hop back on with them as soon as I can. And we'll. I scared McKay. It's not just my McKay scream. Turns out I'm not just a coward on television. I don't just play a coward on television. All right, get out of here. All right, what would I say? Until we geek again, be brave, be kind, be brilliant. Cheerio, and huzzah. Who's somewhere over there? All right, okay, let's get this thing done. Cheers.